Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're all about building a successful business, and our guide is Bankable Business Plans by Edward G. Rogoff.
It's a fantastic resource for any aspiring entrepreneur.
So is it just about getting funding or is there more to it?
It's so much more than that. It's really about having a roadmap, a blueprint for your business's growth. Helps you anticipate those bumps in the road before they even hit.
Okay, so it's like a strategic plan, not just a document you create and then file away.
Exactly.
I see. So where do we even begin? Where's the starting point for making a business plan that truly works?
The foundation is defining your company, and not just in a way that makes sense to you, but in a way that resonates with every stakeholder.
So looking beyond personal goals, what does that look like in practice?
Think about the value your venture brings to the table. What does it achieve for your customers, for your investors, even your suppliers?
It's about the bigger picture, right?
Precisely. It's about understanding the impact your company has on everyone involved.
Like Earl Dixon, the Band-Aid guy.
Yeah.
He saw his wife struggling with those everyday kitchen cuts and boom, created a solution.
A perfect example.
It's that intersection of passion and meeting a real need.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. It's about solving a problem, delivering value to a specific audience.
Now, I've always wondered this. Are entrepreneurs born or made?
Mhm.
Is there some magic formula, some personality type?
Well, the book actually challenges that notion. It argues that success is less about fitting a mold and more about finding the right match between your strengths and the venture itself.
So self-awareness is key then.
Absolutely. Recognize your strengths, your weaknesses, then build a team that complements your skill set and fills those gaps.
The classic teamwork makes the dream work idea.
Exactly.
And I remember the book uses examples like Elon Musk and Richard Branson, right?
Yep.
What can we glean from their journeys?
And they demonstrate that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to entrepreneurship. Musk with his diverse ventures, Branson challenging those industry giants. They both carved their own paths.
And maybe a little bit of rebellion helps too. That willingness to shake things up.
It certainly doesn't hurt.
But once you have that drive, how do you cultivate the actual business ideas? Does the book get into brainstorming and idea generation?
It goes beyond that initial light bulb moment and introduces concepts like design thinking.
Design thinking, what's that all about?
It's about starting with the customer's need and then working backward to craft a solution.
Ah, I see. Sort of like when Ezra Warner came along and saw how much people were struggling with can openers, and then he invented a better one almost 50 years after the can itself was invented.
Exactly. He identified a real need and created a solution. The book also explores various techniques like brainstorming heuristics, even something called Jugad.
You got? Now that's a new one.
It's this fascinating approach to problem solving. It's frugal, improvisational, almost like a DIY spirit. Think about creating prototypes from scrap materials or repurposing everyday objects to test your ideas. It's all about maximizing your resources and being resourceful even with limitations.
Resourcefulness. I like it. Okay, so the ideas are flowing. We're feeling creative. What's the next crucial step, according to Rogoff?
Market research. And he's a big advocate for going deeper than those surface-level demographics.
So beyond just age, gender, location, what else should we be considering?
It's about understanding the why behind consumer behavior. What motivates your ideal customer? What are their pain points? Where do they consume media?
It's about getting into their heads.
Exactly. And not just relying on readily available data. Get out there, talk to people, gather those real-world insights.
It's no substitute for genuine human interaction.
I completely agree. The book even recommends methods like focus groups and consumer panels to gauge reactions to your product or service.
Talking to real people can provide invaluable feedback. So let's say we've got a great idea and a solid understanding of our target market. What's the next step in this business plan journey?
Now it's time to craft a winning strategy. And this is where the book goes beyond those classic approaches like low-cost leader or differentiation.
So it takes a different angle.
It emphasizes tailoring your strategies to your specific industry type. Is it emerging? Is it mature? Is it stagnant or maybe even dominated by giants?
So it's all about context.
Precisely.
It's like Amazon adapting their approach as they grew and as the market evolved.
A perfect example. And even being in a seemingly boring industry can be lucrative if you find the right niche or exploit the weaknesses of those industry giants. It's a classic David versus Goliath situation.
I love a good underdog story. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room, finances. For many entrepreneurs, that can be a daunting aspect.
Many people find it intimidating. But the book acknowledges that while emphasizing the need for concrete numbers in your business plan.
So it's about finding that balance between the creative vision and those hard numbers.
Absolutely, you need both.
What specific financial elements does the book delve into?
It provides a clear framework for understanding and creating your financial statements, things like income statements, balance sheets, cash flow projections.
I'll admit, I get a little lost with all the financial jargon. Can you break down what each of these statements shows and why they're so crucial?
Of course. So let's start with the income statement. Think of it like a report card for your business. It shows how much money you made your revenue versus how much you spent your expenses over a specific period.
So it reveals your profitability.
Exactly. The income statement gives you that net profit or loss figure, indicating if your operations are in the green or the red.
Okay, that makes sense. What about the balance sheet? What does that tell us?
The balance sheet is like a snapshot of your company's financial health at a specific point in time. It lists what your company owns assets, what it owes to others liabilities, and the remaining portion belonging to the owner's equity.
Assets, liabilities, equity. It's about understanding the financial structure of your business.
Precisely. Think of it like this. Assets represent what you have, Wes. Liabilities are what you owe, and equity is your net worth.
Got it. And what about the cash flow projection? How does that fit into the picture?
This one focuses on the movement of cash, both incoming and outgoing. It forecasts how much cash you'll have on hand when you expect to receive payments when those bills are due. It helps you ensure you have enough liquidity to cover your expenses and keep your business running smoothly.
So it's all about managing that cash flow effectively. I
Exactly.
imagine these statements required a lot of detailed information.
They do. But don't worry, the book provides helpful templates and examples, and thankfully there's software available that can streamline process.
Technology to the rescue.
Yeah.
Now, once we have those financials in order, it's time to present our plan, right?
That's right. And the book goes into detail about presenting your plan effectively, both in writing and in person.
So it's not just about what you say, but how you say it.
Exactly. It emphasizes the importance of a well-designed layout and a strong executive summary that grabs the reader's attention right from the start. And when it comes to presenting in person, it talks about the 3 Cs.
3 Cs. Intriguing. Tell me more.
They are context, content, and code.
Okay, break those down for me, especially code. That sounds a bit mysterious.
Well, context is all about being aware of the setting of your presentation, your attitude. Projecting confidence and reading the room. Content is pretty straightforward. It's the information you're presenting. Make sure it's clear, concise, and compelling.
Okay, makes sense. And what about code? What's the secret code to a killer pitch?
Code refers to those nonverbal cues, your body language, eye contact, how you engage with your audience. It's about picking up on those unspoken signals and adjusting your approach accordingly.
Ah, so it's about being aware of those subtle dynamics in the room.
Precisely. And mastering these 3 Cs can make a world of difference in how your presentation is received.
This has been so insightful. We've covered a lot of ground defining the company, sparking creativity, that deep dive into market research, choosing the right strategies, and even tackling those often intimidating financials. Anything else we should keep in mind before we move on?
Yes. One crucial point that both the book and countless successful entrepreneurs emphasize: a business plan isn't static. It's a living roadmap. It should evolve as your venture grows.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a living document guiding you through the entrepreneurial journey.
Exactly. Now, before we dive into part 2, let's shift gears for a moment and bring in the insights of someone who truly understands what it takes to build a successful business.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Who are we talking about?
None other than Jeff Bezos,
Wait, Jeff Bezos, the Amazon founder.
the one and only. He actually wrote the foreword to this edition of Bankable Business Plans.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So in the next part, we'll explore his personal experience with this book and what he learned from the process.
That's right. We'll delve into his insights and see how his journey aligns with Rogoff's framework.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's take a quick break and come back to hear what Jeff Bezos has to say. All right, so Jeff Bezos and business plans. I'm all ears. Did he actually use this book when he was starting Amazon?
He did. In the foreword, Bezos talks about how he sought out Rogoff's advice before launching Amazon. And you know what? He credits a well-structured plan with helping secure that initial funding. And it gave him that framework for growth, for Amazon's incredible journey.
Wow. So even someone as visionary as Bezos saw the value in a solid business plan. That's pretty amazing. What were some of the biggest takeaways for him?
He really emphasized the importance of thorough market research, really understanding the customer.
We talked about that earlier, right? Going beyond just basic demographics and really getting into the customer's mindset.
Exactly. And Bezos even shares a story about how this really hit home for him. Early on, he envisioned Amazon as the world's biggest bookstore, focusing on selection above all else.
Makes sense on the surface, right? The more books, the better.
But through his research, Bezos had this realization that while selection was important and convenience and speed of delivery, those were equally crucial to customer satisfaction.
So it's not just about offering a great product. It's about making the whole experience seamless.
Precisely. And this led him to prioritize streamlining that ordering process, improving shipping logistics, really shaping what we know as Amazon today.
It's a great example of how staying flexible, adapting to those real-world insights can make your plan even stronger. Did Bezos talk about building a team at all?
He did. He stressed the importance of surrounding yourself with people who not only have those complementary skills, but who share your vision. He paints this vivid picture of those early Amazon days, a small team working tirelessly in a makeshift office, fueled by passion and peanut butter sandwiches.
I love that image. It's a good reminder that it's not always about fancy offices and big budgets. It's about the people, the dedication that makes it all happen. But let's be real, passion doesn't always pay the bills. Did Bezos touch on securing funding?
Absolutely. He emphasizes that a compelling plan doesn't just outline the financials, it tells a story. It's about your company, its potential. Investors are looking for more than just a return on investment. They want to believe in the vision and the team driving it.
It's about capturing their imagination as much as presenting those cold, hard numbers.
Exactly. They need to feel confident that their investment is in good hands.
Makes sense. Did Bezos share any of his own experiences pitching the Amazon plan to investors?
He did. And he recounts this moment of doubt, when he realized he had underestimated the resources needed for a successful launch.
Oh, that must have been a nerve-wracking situation. What did he do?
He chose transparency. He went back to his investors, explained the situation that he needed to revise his projections, secure additional funding.
And how did they react?
You know what? They were surprisingly understanding and supportive.
So honesty and building trust were essential.
Absolutely. They saw his commitment, his dedication, and they were willing to provide the necessary capital.
A valuable lesson in building those relationships. So transparency goes a long way. What else did we learn from Bezos?
He reemphasized the importance of adaptability, recognizing that no plan can perfectly predict the future. It's a living document, constantly evolving as your venture grows.
We discussed that with Rogoff's perspective as well. Even those successful companies need to adapt and refine their strategies.
Exactly. And both Rogoff and Bezos stressed the importance of understanding your specific industry and its unique dynamics.
Whether it's an emerging market or one dominated by major players, right? Each presents its own set of challenges.
And they offer tailored strategies based on the industry type. For instance, in emerging markets where there's rapid growth, they suggest a bold win-early approach.
So establish yourself as a leader. Capitalize on that momentum.
Exactly. Now, in maturing industries where growth might be slowing down, they recommend focusing on cost reduction, expanding your market reach, enhancing customer service.
It's about finding those ways to stand out, stay competitive in a more crowded landscape.
Right. And for stagnant or declining industries, they advocate for exploring niche markets, exploiting the weaknesses of larger companies, maybe even considering acquisitions.
It's about getting creative and finding opportunities even when the market isn't ideal.
Exactly. And when facing industry giants, they suggest leveraging something called the attacker's advantage.
Attacker's advantage. Tell me more about that.
It's about identifying those giants' vulnerabilities and targeting markets that they might be overlooking. It's about being nimble and innovative, disrupting the status quo.
So David can still take on Goliath with the right strategy. I like it. Now, after all this talk about strategy and industry types, let's circle back to those crucial financial components.
Yes, let's dive back into those financial statements. The backbone of any successful business plan.
Okay, I'm ready to tackle those financials head on. What insights does Rogoff provide when it comes to creating these statements? So let's dive into these financials. What's the key to making them investor ready?
Rogoff's approach is all about creating projections that are not only credible, but also compelling. It's about translating those big ideas into concrete numbers that investors can really sink their teeth into.
No more vague estimations then. We need to back everything up with solid research.
Absolutely. Investors want to see a deep understanding of your financials, and that starts with knowing your costs inside and out.
Okay, cost breakdown time. What are the main categories we need to think about?
He divides them into two key buckets. You have your startup capital requirements. That's the initial investment you need to get things off the ground. And then there are your operating expenses. Those are the ongoing costs to keep your business running.
So startup costs would be things like equipment inventory, that first office space, while operating expenses cover those recurring costs, like rent salaries, marketing.
You got it. It's about capturing both those one-time investments and the day-to-day costs. And when it comes to estimating those startup costs, Rogoff recommends adding a little buffer.
A margin for error. Makes sense.
Hmm.
Things rarely go exactly according to plan. What percentage does he suggest?
He recommends adding at least 25% to your initial estimates, just to account for those unexpected hurdles.
Good advice. So we've covered costs. Now what about revenue projecting? That can be a bit trickier, right?
It can be, but Rogoff emphasizes the importance of keeping those projections grounded in reality. He offers some really practical methods to ensure they're not just pie in the sky.
Like, give me some examples. How do we make those revenue projections more believable?
One way is to provide a list of potential investors, showing that there's actual interest in what you're offering. Another method is pre-testing, using surveys or focus groups to gauge real-world demand.
So it's about demonstrating market validation, not just relying on hypotheticals. What else?
Benchmarking your projections against industry averages can also add credibility, showing that you've done your research and your numbers are in line with what's realistic.
Okay, solid advice. So we've tackled costs, we've talked about revenue. Now it's time to bring in those financial statements, right?
Time to put it all together. Remember those three key statements? The income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow projection.
Give us a quick recap. What are the main takeaways from each one?
All right, so the income statement is like a performance snapshot. It shows your revenue, your expenses, and that all-important net profit or loss over a specific time period.
It tells you whether your business is actually making money.
Exactly. The bottom line. Now, the balance sheet gives you a glimpse into your company's financial health at a particular moment. It lists those assets, liabilities, and equity.
What we own, what we owe, and what's left for the owners. The financial health checkup.
Exactly. And lastly, the cash flow projection tracks the movement of cash coming in and going out, making sure you have enough to keep things running smoothly.
Okay, so understanding when cash is coming in, when it's going out, maintaining that positive flow is crucial. These statements can seem pretty complex, though. Are there tools available to help us create them?
Definitely. The book provides some really helpful templates and examples, and there are tons of software programs out there that can streamline the entire process.
Technology to the rescue. Any other tips from Rogoff on presenting these financials to investors?
He stresses clarity and simplicity. Avoid using too much jargon and consider using visuals like graphs to make the information more digestible.
It's about striking that balance between accuracy and accessibility.
Right. And don't forget to back up your projections with solid data. Include market research findings, customer testimonials, anything that supports your numbers.
Okay, evidence-based financials. Got it. Any final words of wisdom on this all-important topic?
Remember, your financial projections aren't set in stone. Revisit them regularly, ideally every quarter, to make sure they still reflect your business's reality and adjust as needed.
That's a great reminder. A business plan needs to evolve as the company grows. This deep dive has been incredibly insightful. I'm walking away with a whole new appreciation for the power of a well-crafted business plan and a much clearer understanding of what goes into creating one.
Me too. And hopefully our listeners are feeling empowered to tackle their own business plans, drawing inspiration from both Rogoff's framework and Bezos's real-world experience.
To recap, let's go over those 10 key takeaways to guide you on your entrepreneurial journey.
Love it. Let's hear them.
Number 1, planning is essential. Number 2, define your company comprehensively. Number 3, cultivate that entrepreneurial mindset. But remember, there's no single mold. Number 4, embrace creativity and innovation. Utilize techniques like design thinking and Jugad. Number 5, know your market inside and out. Go beyond those basic demographics. Number 6, develop a winning strategy tailored to your specific industry. Number 7, build a rock-solid financial plan with realistic projections and those essential statements. Number 8, showcase your expertise and passion. Let that shine through. Number 9, present your plan with impact. Master those 3 C's. And finally, number 10, stay adaptable. Remember that a business plan is a living document. It should evolve along with your venture.
Fantastic summary. Those 10 points are a roadmap for success.
And as both Rogoff and Bezos emphasize, a business plan isn't just about getting funded. It's about setting a course for success, navigating the world of business with confidence and a clear vision.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, happy planning, everyone.